over the last 1 week, US President Donald Trump has been raising sharp questions over an alleged $21 million USAID contribution that went to India for allegedly increasing voter turnout. Time and time again, at least on 4 different occasions, on 4 different days, Donald Trump has made this a big talking point. And that has triggered a big political clash here back home. Today, there was a new twist that came to the fore. A finance ministry report which has reignited the debate between the Congress and the BJP. We are nowhere closer to knowing where that $21 million actually led to. Who were the actual beneficiaries of that $21 million, if at all that money has come from the United States, from USAID to India, as has been claimed first by Elon Musk in Dodge, and then subsequently, as has been claimed by President Donald Trump of the US, at least on 4 separate occasions over 4 days. Now, some media reports have investigated and looked at this $21 million, and they have found that no monies to the tune of $21 million has come from the United States to India. And some have said that this $21 million actually went to Bangladesh and not to India. So is it a case of Trump getting confused between Dhaka and Delhi? But be that as it may, here's what both Congress and BJP are saying on the back of this latest finance ministry report that has been put out, and that again is leading to political mudslinging between both sides. Now, the Congress has shared this annual report on Twitter by the finance ministry for the financial year 23-24. They claim that 7 projects worth a total budget of $750 million was implemented by USAID in partnership with the government of India and various other NGOs for the current financial year, the latest financial year, which is 23-24, that they have data for. Of which, of this $750 million worth of projects, $97 million was actually transferred from USAID to various NGOs who are operating in India, NGOs that are associated with, that do work for example, in the health space, or in the environmental space, or in the technology space. Just minutes after this was tweeted out by the Congress's Jairam Ramesh, the BJP then shared parts of that very same report by the Ministry of Finance, saying that it was uploaded in July of 2024. The BJP claimed that this report traces the origins of much of this amount all the way back to 2010-11. And the BJP also goes on to claim that even in 2014-15, before the BJP came to power, the amount of money that was given by USAID to government directly, forget about NGOs, was in excess of $200 million. The BJP claimed that up until September 2013, the total assistance extended to India by USAID was approximately $15.8 billion US, and that it was during the 2010-2011 period that USAID signed as many as 6 bilateral agreements with the government of India. Now, the BJP's contention is, after Mr. Modi's government came to power, and particularly after 2015, the government-to-government exchange of money or money flow has come down drastically. But yes, there is still $200 million plus that has come from USAID to various NGOs. But the moot point is, where is this $21 million that Trump and Musk have been alleging was diverted to India for quote-unquote voter turnout? But first, let's listen in to what the External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar also said about this contentious amount.
Some information has been put out there by the Trump administration people, and obviously that is concerning. It would suggest that there are activities whose which has a certain objective out here to push a narrative or a viewpoint. I think as a government we are looking into it because such organizations have an obligation to report. And my sense is the facts will come out.
All right, so here's what the latest annual report of the Finance Ministry has disclosed. The report says that the US agency, which is USAID, meant for development funding around the world, was taking part in 7 projects worth $750 million in the financial year that closed in March 2024. The report also says that for that financial year, 23-24, there was a total outflow of money from USAID to various NGOs, various sectors here in India, to the tune of almost $100 million. It further outlined that the funds were used for projects that were focused on agriculture, on food security, on health primarily, on water, sanitation, hygiene, renewable energy, a whole host of areas where USAID monies have come in through various NGOs. Now, it also claims that a substantial amount of money was allocated to the Sustainable Forests and Climate Adaptation Program, as well as the Energy Efficiency, Technology and Commercialization Project. The report further said that since its inception in 1951, USAID has provided over $17 billion in economic assistance to India over the last 50 plus years. And it says, that same report says, that in that period from 1951 to 2023-24, more than 550 projects across various sectors have been funded or supported by USAID. But this has become a huge talking point. The $21 million that allegedly DOGE found was being diverted from the United States to India for quote-unquote voter turnout. And then Donald Trump, the US president, picked this up and made this into an issue. He repeated this over 4 days in 4 different speeches and said, why are we giving $21 million to India? But the moot point is, no one quite knows where this money went and who the beneficiaries, if at all, there were in India of this $21 million. But let's listen in to what Mr. Trump had to say.
What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Well, $21 million, I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected.
I wonder what they think when they get it. Now, it's a kickback scheme. You know, it's not like they get it and they spend. They kick it back to the people that send it, I would say, in many cases.
Well, why are we giving $21 million to India? They got a lot of money. They're one of the highest taxing countries in the world. We're giving $21 million for voter turnout. It's voter turnout in India.
We're giving money to India for elections. They don't need money. They take advantage of us.
All right, let's go straight across to Tuin Sinha, National Spokesperson of the BJP, and Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, Spokesperson of the Congress, joining us. Tuin, the moot point is that this Finance Ministry report seems to indicate that over the last 10 years, 7 projects worth $750 million were undertaken by the USAID, and in financial year 23-24, almost $100 million obligation from USAID that flowed into India. The question that the Congress is asking is, why didn't you stop this money? Why are you only focused on a narrow 21 million, which Mr. Trump has been talking about, but no one knows where this 21 million went?
Well, good evening, Zakka. Good evening, everybody. You know, the problem with the Congress party and Jairam Ramesh is that they think that, the Indian voters' IQ is as challenged as that of Rahul Gandhi. The funding that he's talking about is very specifically government-to-government partnerships, which are executed as externally aided projects, which, like you mentioned in your opening remarks, have been going on from 1951. And they have come down drastically from 2015 onwards. In fact, even those which exist right now trace their origins back to 2010-11. What is the bone of contention over here is not these, very transparent projects. It is the money, the covert money received through CESS, Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, a very clearly a Soros-backed organization for increasing voter turnout, which by default would have meant inflicting regime change. There are very simple questions for Rahul Gandhi in the last 2 years. Why did he very pointedly start going to the US, pleading with them to help them restore democracy in the country? Why was he championing BRI, China's BRI, 1 day prior to the announcement of the India, Middle East, European corridors? All of a sudden, after 2019, why did he break up the caste issue? Obviously, these were sponsored agendas, sponsored narratives, and that is what the Congress party needs to explain instead of confusing them with government-to-government transparent projects which have existed for the last 7 decades.
So let me ask Bhavya Narasimhamurthy this, that the BJP's contention is also that post-2015, the amount of government-to-government funding has come down, that in the 10-year period between 2004 and 2014, the amount of money that came from USAID to government functions or government programs was in excess of 200 million, whereas under Mr. Modi's government, that is less than 15 million. Now, the point is that there is no law that bars NGOs from getting funding. If anybody, violates FCRA norms, then yes, the funding of that NGO is cancelled. But the moot point is that there is no more monies coming to government as it used to happen in the UPA's period. And the second point that Tuin Sinha was making is this $21 million was given to SEPs, and then SEPs subsequently gave it to some NGOs or agencies here in India, which then were used to manipulate voter turnout. Please respond on both points, Bhavya.
First of all, we Congress people do not have a culture of name calling and calling other people as less smarter than themselves, thinking they're very smart. Although I would like to give some facts to show the smartness, also the chronology, that is going to prove how fake this BJP ecosystem is. From 2001 to 2024, India has received $2.9 billion in USAID. And for 2014 to 24, it has received $1.2 billion, which is 44% only in Modi government. All right. Secondly, this $21 million that BJP ecosystem has been using to create a fake narrative against Congress. According to them, it was sent in 2012. Sorry, according to the tweet by Elon Musk. But who got elected in 2013 again? Wasn't it Narendra Modi? And if you heard what Trump was speaking, he just said, maybe they were trying to get someone else elected. These were the exact words he used. So was that $21 million given to BJP government? Because the first lot of it, which came, was on 1st October 2016, 12, when this anti-Anna Hazare's movement started and AAP started to start its own party and all of this. And Narendra Modi was appointed as the prime minister candidate. So who was this 21 million actually helping? Isn't it common sense? Just to call other people as, not being smart or dumb is easy. But show some sense, have some common sense to even analyze your own narrative.
But Bhavya, the 2012 MOU that was signed between SEPs, in fact, a subsidiary of SEPs called IFES, and the Election Commission of India, Mr. Qureshi, who was the Chief Election Commissioner at that time, has said, and he's put out the MOU out there in the public domain, there is no monetary transaction.
That's exactly we are saying. Even the fact checkers have said that. I am only talking about the fake narrative that BJP has created and giving it back to them.
Okay.
Showing them a mirror.
So, Tuin Sinha,
if they have any ounce of transparency in front of people, let them create a white paper on what all has come since
will
Modi
you create
came to
a
power
white paper? This 21 million, Mr. Trump says, Mr. Musk says, went to India for quote-unquote voter turnout. They are not going to say who in India were the beneficiaries of this. That is up to the government of India to put that out in the public domain. Will you do so?
We are determined to get to the bottom of it. But I'm glad you pointed out, you fact-checked the Congress spokesperson, because, these funds were not received in 2012. In 2012, there was an MOU between a subsidiary of SEPs and the Election Commission for a certain project, which the then Election Commissioner has been very categorically said was a non-monetary, arrangement. Now, this money, in all likelihood, has been sent across in the last 2 to 3 years, and that corresponds with the change of behavior in the Congress party. Now, what the Congress party does not understand is that there are vast funds which have been received from USAID, which are accounted for. This 21 million is unaccounted for. It is a covert funding. It is a funding which needs to be traced. And, like I said,
exactly. Why was it funded? What was the result of it?
Please don't Bhajan. The first needle of suspicion would point towards people who are behaving in a certain deviant manner in the last 2 or 3 years, corresponding with the code word, which is increasing election voter turnout, which was never the case in India. India has a robust 67-68% voter turnout. Obviously, the intent was to influence the outcome of these elections, which they tried very hard, but where they did not succeed.
Like I said, the onus on showing who were the beneficiaries of that money, if at all that money came to India, the onus of that has to be on the government. Let's see if the government reveals that data.